The Diddy documentary is so disturbing.
I want to get whatever I want, I have to get.
Now y'all witnessing Jesus walking on water. You know what I'm saying? Because I can only compare myself to the Son of God.
They'll be doing these freak offs.
How is this fun for you at 50-something years old? Like,
I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution.
I think that Sean now had a lot to do with the death of Tupac.
Hello you gorgeous donuts. Today we're covering the most horrifying and disturbing documentary that I've seen in recent times. This is Netflix's new documentary on Sean Diddy Combs, also known as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Diddy. The guy's got more aliases than a supervillain, for Christ's sake. Now this documentary has genuinely shocked the world. Everybody is talking about it right now. For years now there's been rumours, lawsuits, accusations made against Diddy, and this documentary puts all of those under the microscope like we've never seen before, as it shows us unseen footage of Diddy that is honestly groundbreaking. In this video we're going to break down the darkest allegations explored in the Netflix documentary, the extreme pattern of behaviour that all of the witnesses in the doc explain that Diddy did, the behind the scenes stories that the public were never meant to hear, and at the end of this video we're going to go through the aftermath of the documentary dropping, the response from Diddy's team, the response from everybody else who was going against Diddy, and specifically from Diddy himself. So buckle up, because we're going to expose everything that this 4-hour documentary piece revealed, and try and discover why somebody that was famed for being one of the most groundbreaking people in the hip-hop industry became one of the most evil people to ever exist, arguably. Let's get into it. Now, episode 1 begins 6 days before Diddy's arrest, and it's quite surprising because you're seeing footage of Diddy in his hotel room with nobody else but the person holding the camera, whilst he's talking to his attorney about how he's going to get out of this current situation and all the lawsuits and his trial possibly. Now you're probably wondering how the documentary has this footage, why this footage was even taken in the first place. Well, it is explained to us pretty quickly afterwards. In September of 2024, Sean Combs had a videographer follow him while in New York City. During this time, Combs was under federal investigation. The filmmakers obtained this footage after Sean Combs was arrested. So instantly, this kind of sets the whole documentary up to be explosive, because you're seeing the footage that he was filming for himself, where he expected to kind of get out of this mess. Also, like, the ego on him, that he was like, yeah, I'm just gonna like film this, and this is going to like be a documentary piece about how I overcame like a struggle in my life. Whereas in reality, this is just going to incriminate him so much more. Now, during this conversation on the phone with his attorney, he's talking to his attorney about how he's lost faith in them, how he doesn't believe that they're doing enough, how he wants more, as he believes that he's about to be arrested and found guilty and go to prison. So obviously he's on like high alert at this point. And during this conversation, you can see he's trying to say to his attorney, can we do some like dirty tactics to try and get the upper hand here?
It can be somebody that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business of media and propaganda.
So obviously he's trying to find ways to kind of manipulate the public perception of him, because he knows it's so crucial to his case. And you can see he's so uncomfortable, like he's got that leg kind of tapping that you do when you're really anxious. Clearly he feels like the walls are closing in on him at this point. Now throughout the documentary we often get clips from this day, as he kind of filmed the entire day, like the full 24 hours. But you can just sense the clear desperation in his voice.
I'm gonna get off the phone right now. I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution.
This is clearly someone that has always gotten his own way with everything, just because of how like rich and I guess, you know, powerful he seems to be. He's literally saying to a lawyer, look, I don't think you're doing your job enough here. Like, can you come back to me when like I'm innocent? Thank you very much. Like, what am I even paying you for? We then get to see flashbacks of Diddy trying to portray himself in the media as like the perfect person, as if all he wants to do is just help people. Whereas even without watching this documentary, you already know that that's not him now. And instantly the documentary then backs that up with all of the headlines that are now being wrote about him as well, just to further that he is lying when he was doing these interviews to the media over the span of his career. We then get to see on screen exactly what Diddy has been sentenced for now in present day. Sean Combs was tried in federal court on charges including RICO, and violations of the Mann Act. He was convicted on 2 counts of transportation. To engage in prostitution under the Mann Act and acquitted of the remaining charges, he was sentenced to 50 months in prison with time served. So for people that don't even know about the situation, you're kind of just giving it in black and white, like, he is guilty for what some of these things that are featured in this video. We still need to figure out what these things really are. And at this point, we then get to see our first few testimonies from the people featured in this documentary, and they kind of do a compilation of everybody that is involved, and this kind of took my breath away, because usually within a documentary, you get talking head pieces from like reporters, people who kind of knew the people or had heard stories about them or researched on the topic, whereas everybody featured in this documentary doing the talking head pieces are people that were so close to Diddy. We have his business partner for many years, we have his personal assistant, we have artists that were signed to him, we have like Tupac's cousins in this, so instantly you know that you're going to get the truth here. We've even got like his bodyguard and people on Diddy's side as well to kind of balance it out and show that it's not just like a one-sided hit piece. I do think the reason why they've managed to get so many people in is because it is actually executively produced by 50 Cent. Now we're going to see later in this video how this comes into play and how hilarious it is that he is the one who's produced this entire thing. But first, a word from this video's partner. Now, do you fancy a free case of wine? I'll answer that for you. Yes, you do. Well, my friends at Wine 52 have got you sorted with a free case of 3 wines directly from Doc in the south of France. Honestly, they're spoiling you, man. Go to www.wine52/calmwine and just cover the postage and you will receive 3 exclusive wines you won't find anywhere else. Got them right here, man. Look. Honestly, I feel so exclusive right now just holding these. The aura that they have is remarkable. Launched by our friends at Beer 52, Wine 52 is the fastest growing wine club at the moment, showcasing the icons of global winemaking and also offering you some hidden gems so you can try the best wine you've ever had. As you can see, one bottle has already basically been finished as Chloe loves these and she just couldn't wait until I filmed this integration. She's crazy, guys, honestly, mental. Your free case will include a selection of both white and red wines. My personal favourite is definitely the red wine. I just like the way that this one tastes. It's honestly one of the nicest ones that I've tasted. Like, as you can see, Chloe like absolutely loves it. She's left hardly any for me. Now, if you're like me and you prefer red or you prefer white wine, you can choose a case which is solely just one type of wine, or you can get the mixed one. The case will also include the Glug magazine so you can learn about the wines, and you also get a few tasty snacks as well to just nibble on while you're having the wine. Now, if you order this and it doesn't satisfy you, you can cancel or pause your orders at any time. So yeah, try it. What have you got to lose? So remember, that is www.wine52/calmwine to claim your free delicious selection of wine today. That's wine52.com/calmwine. But straight away, we kind of get a character profile on Diddy that if you were not his friend or you did him wrong, like that was very bad for you and bad things would happen to you. The footage they kind of show you in the flashbacks kind of backs that up from very early on.
I want what you get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
Bro, that's a grown man throwing things around his office going, I'm gonna get what I want. Like, what are you doing? Like, chill out, mate. Have a day off. It's definitely giving, like, small man syndrome. It's kind of strange. Now, you are probably wondering why these people featured in the documentary even kind of got involved with Diddy in the first place if these red flags were apparent. Well, apparently he actually had a side of his personality that would make you feel so kind of, like, full of self-belief. Like, apparently his energy was very infectious. He would make you think that you could conquer the world. He would kind of blow smoke up your arse and kind of make you feel like, you know, you're better than what you are, especially like if you're somebody that hasn't been praised a lot. I can see how this kind of manipulation tactic would very much make you feel like you need to be around this person, especially in the early days where all of these things that he's now being accused of were not, you know, obviously very, very in the spotlight. And I definitely feel like this was a power play early on from Diddy. His former security guard, Roger Bonds, even says that the more money, that Diddy got, the more powerful he felt. And he felt powerful when he had no money. So how is he going to be when he's like a multi-millionaire, if not a billionaire? Probably not going to be a nice guy, right? Not going to be the first person on your Christmas card list. Now, while all these people who know Diddy are doing their pieces to the camera, we're then kind of accompanied by a vlog of Diddy kind of just riding a bike in New York streets. Like, obviously he's filming for this documentary. He thinks he's going to release himself when he's successful in beating all of these accusations. But now that it's in this documentary where you see how bad he is, it just looks so strange. He's like Casey Neistat going around New York just talking about what he's doing, like a day in the life, despite all of these accusations being made about him being the worst person on the planet. Now at this point, I am kind of gripped by the documentary, but I do want to kind of understand how Diddy became Diddy and how he became so evil. And the documentary actually does take us all the way back to his childhood. Now, one thing I didn't realise prior to the documentary about Diddy is he actually went to private school and he actually had quite a lot of money as a child. His father was a gangster who unfortunately died, and his mother and Diddy were the only ones in the house. He was an only child, and his mother like did everything for him. She basically kind of worshipped him as well, and she often would like dress him up to make him look like a superstar. Like, she'd put him in like fur coats and everything, kind of building this main character syndrome around him. She would often throw parties a lot of the time, kind of similar to the vibe of what P. Diddy's parties ended up being like, apart from all of the, you know, weird shit and the horrific stuff that went on. But they followed the same kind of vibe. Like, in their sitting room, they even had a stage which people could dance on, which I just found kind of wild. Like, imagine just in your sitting room, you've got just a stage. Imagine you've been talking to someone, right? And you're like, oh, I like this person. They're like, oh, do you want to come to mine? You're like, yeah, I'm going to come. And then literally you walk in, there's a stage there. You'd be like, how many people have been on this stage before me? What is this, live at the Apollo? Do you want us to do a stand-up routine? Why is there a stage in the sitting room? Somebody tell me. That is so strange. Guys, I'm moving house soon. I might get one in my new house, right? Fuck. Actually, no, I don't want any likeness to P. Diddy, if I'm honest. But often, like, people would be kind of, you know, doing things sexually to each other at these parties and stuff. And Diddy would be there as a child, just walking around thinking this is normal. Like, from a child's perspective, you growing up with your family, or I guess your mother, you know, having these parties, and you just think that's normal. You just think that, oh, okay, this is just what everybody does, when in reality, they don't. Now, I'm not saying that to give Diddy sympathy. I'm just trying to talk about and kind of get into his mindset. One of his childhood friends even says that when he would go round to Diddy's house, his mother would like repeatedly beat him, and he'd seen like his friends get beat off their parents before, but nothing like the beatings that Diddy got.
I got beatings now. When he got his beatings, it wasn't a joking thing. Damn, I hate thinking about that, man.
Now you can see, you know, obviously this guy's a grown man now, and this still really affects him, what he saw and what he saw towards, you know, Sean, Diddy. I'm going to keep calling them like all of these aliases in this just subconsciously. So what I'm trying to say here is this guy grew up in a really, really toxic household, despite having the privileges of going to private school and, you know, money not really being an issue. He was definitely raised in violence, and especially, you know, with him being impressionable at that point, he definitely thought that, oh, this is what I can do to other people. This childhood friend of Diddy says that this would make him more violent when they like went out. Like, if he had a fight with other people, he wouldn't just like punch them, he'd like grip their neck with his teeth, and he was just so violent with it, almost like a vampire, like on some Edward Cullen shit or something. Under no circumstances could he lose anything. Like, he'll do absolutely anything to get his way. It's also important to note that the producers actually reached out to Sean Combs' mother, asking for like, you know, can we have like a statement if you did actually do these things to Sean, and she refused to comment. We are going to see her response to the documentary at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that because it is explosive. But despite growing up this way, Sean would actually land his first internship in the hip-hop industry within Uptown Records, which at that time was one of the hottest labels around. At Uptown, he would meet a girl called Kim Porter, who worked on the reception desk there. I believe Kim at the time was seeing one of the successful rappers that was signed to the label, and at this point Diddy wasn't successful. He wasn't like a huge artist, he was literally an intern. However, he got this like obsession with Kim where it was almost almost like he had to have her. Like, he wasn't happy that somebody else could have this woman and he couldn't. People said around this time as well, like, despite Diddy not being successful or being attractive in any way, he wasn't like physically attractive as well. Like, people used to laugh at the thought that Diddy could even have a chance with someone like Kim Porter. Now, a running theme throughout this documentary is when Diddy sees something that he wants, he always gets it, and eventually him and Kim actually, I believe, got married and they had multiple children together. But we will discuss that more later on when it's covered. And at Uptown, he would often do things that other people weren't willing to do to kind of further himself and give himself more power. For instance, with the owner of Uptown Records, who was called Andre, he'd lick his arse a lot. Like, if Andre needed a coffee, he'd go and sprint and get a coffee, or if he needed some clothes, he'd sprint and do it really fast. Andre used to say, like, how does he move this quick? Like, I've never had people, like, serve me this quickly. But basically, he knew how to make himself, like, I guess, valuable to people because he knew what it would bring him. Like, he wasn't doing this out the kindness of his heart. He knew that this could help him get further. And this was like a constant theme with the owner of Uptown. Like, when Andre actually moved into his new house, it was like a mansion. Just very conveniently, Diddy had got kicked out the house at that point, apparently. So Diddy actually moved in with Andre so he could build an even better relationship with him and kind of, I guess, get the one up of everybody else in the company. Not trying to do the usual steps of getting that promotion, then that promotion. He wanted to get to the top as fast as possible. And whilst he lived with the owner of Uptown Records, he would actually start his freak-off parties there. Often when Andre was like out of town, Diddy would have a party without Andre even knowing in his mansion. And apparently the house would often get trashed, like the floors would be dead muddy because loads of random people are coming in and out. And there was a girl who attended one of these parties called Joy, and she actually helped Diddy like clean up one night, and Diddy was very thankful to her. He actually said, I want to put you in a music video that we're doing at Uptown. So she did it. And this is our first kind of introduction into how evil Diddy is. He saw someone that looked quite vulnerable, who was helping him, doing a nice thing, and he thought, how can I take advantage of her? As after filming this music video, he actually ended up essaying her. Not only did he do that, he actually filmed the evidence as well without her knowing, and she actually sued him for this in 2023, and we find out that Joy is one of more than 100 cases exactly like this of people that Diddy did this to. But you can see in Joy's like tone of her voice and just her face and everything when she's retelling this story, she has just such a vivid, horrifying memory of it. And the fact that Diddy just tries to kind of deny this, that he ever did this to someone, is so evil because you can see on her face how this still affects her today. Of course it would. It's one of the most traumatic things somebody can go through. Joy then actually reads out a letter that her own mother wrote to Diddy's parents talking about what Diddy did to her daughter.
She told me that several people have come to her to inform her that your son has made an obscene videotape of her. Without her knowledge, he videotaped him doing something to her. Your son shows these tapes at parties on large screen televisions.
Who is going to these parties? Like, imagine, put yourself in someone going to P. Diddy's party. And let's just not even say it's P. Diddy. Let's just say it's anybody, right? You turn up at this party, you're like, okay, this is cool, house party, whatever. And you see the owner of the house having sex with people on the screens. You're going to be like, I'm going to just swivel back out of here. Why would you stay? That's not a party. Also, like, why would Diddy do this? Like, what is the reason for this? I guess we're going to see later on in this documentary as we try to kind of unravel this guy's mind. But honestly, the cruelty is just off the charts. Like, this is a constant theme with this man. It's beyond evil what he does to people. Now, Joy at the time actually was going to people who, you know, would attend these parties and saying, like, can you help me, please? Like, can you just tell me, like, you know, what's he got to say about it? Or just help in general anyway, going to the authorities or anything. However, many people said to her, like, oh, I don't want to get involved because then I no longer will get invited to the parties, which obviously is just such like a, you know, such a kick in the balls kind of thing to say to someone who's clearly been a victim of, you know, such a horrific thing. Just zero empathy for her, and I can understand how she would feel so alone during this. Also, is it really a bad thing if you no longer get invited to the parties where they show just people having sex on screen? I think that's a plus, if anything. Ban me from that party, please. You're doing me a service. Now, the former associates featured in the documentary say that they believe that Sean used to do this to people because apparently there was like a drug lord in the area that would do the same thing but to like other like enemies' girlfriends. So basically if there was someone this drug lord was beefing with, he would basically get with their girlfriend, film it, and I guess like send it to them or whatever, you know, just again, just horrible things. Now, you know, me, you would look at something like that and go, that is disgusting, like why would you ever do that? Whereas Sean saw that as something to kind of, you know, do himself. Like he saw that as like, oh, this guy's got so much aura, I'm going to put myself in that exact position. And it just shows like how early on his mind was always messed up. Like this didn't just develop like over time as he became more powerful. Like from the very start, this guy was just fucked. So Joy actually did see Diddy like a little while after what happened to her happened. And apparently Diddy got on his knees basically like pleading that he was innocent and that he didn't do this. And it just seems like he finds it so easy to just kind of lie to people's faces, and he just feels no empathy towards people even if he is the one that's hurt them. The doc then takes us to December 1991, and this covers like a basketball game that Diddy had set up in his local area. He got quite a few famous people together to do like this mini basketball game at like a centre, and it sold out instantly. And because it sold out, obviously there was crowds outside that wanted a ticket and couldn't get in because it was at max capacity. So they actually found a way to kind of ambush the event and get in anyway, because obviously Diddy just didn't plan this event as well as he should have and take the necessary precautions. And 9 people actually died at this event that Diddy had set up. And this is said to have been the first time that Diddy kind of made mainstream news and made him kind of ultra famous because everybody was talking about this. And his business partner Kirk actually recalls a moment where they all went back to a hotel, and apparently his mother was questioning him, being like, oh, like, did you actually do all the things you were meant to do? Like, should you have really done this? And apparently straight away Diddy just put his hands on his mother and just assaulted her like quite badly. And it makes you think, like, if he can assault his mother really badly, then, you know, other women that he's not related to, what is he capable of doing with them? Now, Diddy actually took zero responsibility for, you know, anything to do with this situation. He just kind of wiped his hands with it. Actually, I tell a lie. He used it to further his career and kind of launch him into the mainstream media. He kind of found a niche of finding really small, talented artists who hadn't blown up yet and kind of taking them to stardom. He first did this with Mary J. Blige, who I imagine everybody watching this video possibly has heard of. Huge artist. But despite using this traumatic event as a springboard and becoming successful in his own right, his violence didn't stop there. As he felt like he needed ownership over more people, there was this incident recalled in the documentary with a girl called Misa. She was dating a huge popular artist at the time, and Diddy didn't like this, and Diddy wanted her for himself. And obviously the running theme throughout this documentary, if Diddy wants something, for some reason he seems to get it. He actually managed to prize this girl away from this artist, and many people talk about how badly he treated her. They recall an incident where outside of Uptown Records' studio, Diddy was just like beating this girl in the street. It got to the point where like multiple men had to drag him off her. That's how violent he was being. And apparently the reason he did this was because he thought that she was talking to another man just on no evidence. Honestly, like, donuts who watch all my videos will know that I often try and see all perspectives in these videos. This guy, I'm just drawing a line and saying is evil. Just genuinely evil. The man, you can't explain his thought process. Now, what's even wilder is a year later, they actually were still together and Misa had Diddy's first child. Now, despite, you know, the amazing thing of bringing your first child into the world, Sean's life would take a dramatic turn for the worse after this, as he actually got sacked from Uptown Records, as he was getting too big for his boots. He was basically kind of bossing the boss Andre around and kind of diminishing him and kind of basically treating this business as if it was his. This led to Diddy co-founding his obviously mega famous label Bad Boy Records and signing his first artist Biggie Smalls, who obviously I imagine everybody has heard of. He founded Bad Boy with his business partner Kirk, who was like a constant theme throughout this documentary, detailing everything. Kirk says that he realised that Diddy was turning evil as he didn't actually put any of Bad Boys in his name when they registered the company. Kirk got 25% and and Diddy's mother got 75%. Apparently Diddy did this because he didn't want any of the families from that basketball game where, you know, people had lost their lives to sue him. So instantly he's kind of starting to think from a non-empathetic standpoint in being like, I don't want to give anybody anything. Now, as you've seen throughout this video, Diddy has like a jealousy tendency, and this was so apparent when Biggie started to become a huge artist and became friends with Tupac. And we all know what happened between Biggie and Tupac and how they're no longer with us. However, not many people know, but they were actually really good friends at one point, and they were hugely respectful towards each other. They would often do interviews together. They just kind of respected what each other were trying to achieve within the industry. And Diddy didn't like this. Diddy didn't like that Biggie was no longer just his kind of project. He got really jealous of Tupac and the relationship that Tupac and Biggie were having. He almost felt like he was going to be left behind. It's said by many people who knew Diddy that he felt really, really threatened by Tupac. And the documentary basically alludes to the fact that Diddy on many occasions attempted to end Tupac's life, and when it actually did happen, Diddy was responsible, which obviously is such a major groundbreaking thing for this documentary to say, because up until this point somebody else has been charged for Tupac's death, who we will cover, and we do cover what they say about it, and them revealing Diddy's involvement in episode 2. But even Kirk, Diddy's business partner at the time, says this about the situation.
I think that Sean now, in my mature mind, had a lot to do with the death of Tupac.
Now that's, again, his former business partner of many years. This is not somebody who's researched it and then is giving their opinion after their findings. This is someone that was involved in the entire industry at the time, his very right-hand man. To my knowledge, Kirk has never said this publicly before. If he has, apologies, but I just haven't seen it. Now, again, it is important to note, like, as of present day, Diddy has not been charged with anything in accordance to Tupac's death. But you're going to see in episode 2 that this should not be the case. Talking about episode 2, we now roll into it. And you would think with all of the Tupac stuff going on, which Diddy is being accused of, you know, harming Tupac, you would think that he would be on his best behaviour. However, Kirk, his business partner, said at this time he would often do things like this.
Sean was in his office, buzzes me. So I get up and I go in with my papers and go. A girl is giving him a blowjob at the desk. He wanted me to see that. He wanted me to see her face.
Bruh. HR, hello? You've got a phone call? Like, you're at work. Imagine being at work and a co-worker does this. You'd be like, well, that's you getting laid off or just sacked. Not even get any money for that. I feel like that does go against many company policies, honestly. Maybe it's a little bit, you know, just crosses the line just a tiny bit. But on a serious note, like, again, it's that kind of power move that he craves. It's that kind of, you know, that feeling that he has ownership over someone. He can embarrass someone. Someone can do something for him and he can kind of just take the piss and do whatever he wants back. Kirk even says that he asked, like, do you need us for anything? And he went, no, I just wanted you to see this. Which again just shows how strange this guy is. Most people, you know, when someone enters a room when they're doing something sexual, go, oh my God, what the fuck? No, we were doing nothing. Nothing. But Diddy's like, oh no, do you want to join in? Have you got a ticket? You know, oh, you got a queue jump. Great, get yourself in. Kirk also talks about how Diddy was acting a lot more recklessly during this time. He said that at one point, Diddy walked into Kirk's office with a baseball bat and with some other people and basically persuaded Kirk to sign away his 25% ownership of the business over to Diddy as Diddy needed it for some reason. He did say to Kirk that he would get it back, but Kirk, I don't believe, ever got it back. Now, this is a man that has helped you grow the business into what it is today, a man that has never did any wrong to you, yet he would still act this way towards those people. So no matter if you were nice to Diddy, if you were horrible to Diddy, you would still feel his wrath. Like, Diddy was never nice to anybody. Kirk did try to sue Diddy in 2003, but actually wasn't successful. In this lawsuit, he also talked about how Diddy would essay him as well. So, you know, many traumatic things Kirk has been through with Diddy, and he was definitely definitely manipulated so much. I know many people watching this video would say, well, he's a grown man, surely you can make your own decisions to get yourself out of this. But he talks about how he basically built Bad Boy, and this was his company as well, and he couldn't just walk away from it. And I do understand that perspective. Like, this is his baby, this is the thing that he's put all his time and effort into. Why should he be bullied out of it by a bully? And at this time, a lot of the artists that were signed to Bad Boy Records were starting to get a bit aggy as well, because they were selling like loads of singles, they were top on the charts. However, they were broke, but Diddy was walking around with like a new car, new chains. He was like richer than ever, so obviously he's just not paying the artists for their work. Apparently he would give them a huge advance, and then they would never see any money ever again, no matter how successful they were, even if they'd worked past the advance as well. Genuinely, some of the artists were winning awards but didn't have the money to attend the awards because they weren't being paid. Do you know how crazy that is? And this is another running theme with Diddy. He definitely uses more talented people than him to further himself, but he's not doing it for the actual people and for the art. He's doing it so that he can become more powerful. It's almost like he's, you know, some sort of abomination. He's like Galactus, if anyone's seen the Fantastic Four movies. He basically just consumes everyone for his own gain. Now, despite this, Bad Boy was actually thriving loads. They were becoming one of the like hottest labels in the industry, and another label at this time was also hugely successful, a lot more successful than Bad Boy. This is called Death Row Records. Anybody that is a fan of hip-hop, you definitely have heard of these, or anyone that's seen like the Straight Outta Compton movie. This was ran by Dr. Dre and Suge Knight. Now, Diddy didn't like that they were successful. He would do things to Suge Knight, like he would try and steal Suge Knight's girl away from him. Again, doing all of these little horrible tactics to try and get one over on people. He even set up this occasion where Suge Knight and Suge Knight's friend were coming to visit him, and he basically set it up so this guy came out and shot Suge Knight's friend 5 times in front of Suge, and he basically said to Suge after this, don't worry, you're gonna be okay, your family's gonna be okay, your kids are gonna be okay. Again, just a hugely, like, very, very deep manipulation, intimidation, just a horrible bloke, really. That's it, just a horrible bloke. I don't understand why just one night he couldn't just put his feet up and just watch Corrie, or, you know, just like chill out, watch Selling Sunset, right, have a cup of tea, some bickies. Why has he got to just have a madness every night, man? Or where? Pack it in. Every night killing or abusing someone, brother. Pack it in. Now, this killing of Suge Knight's friend actually started the very famous West/East Coast beef that was going on. Obviously, everybody knows how Tupac and Biggie were kind of the faces of that, going against each other. And again, like I've said, inevitably led to the death of both of those artists. Now, up until this point, the person that was charged with Tupac's death is a man called Cassie D. And in this documentary, I believe they show a never-be-seen confession from Cassie D, basically saying that Diddy was the one who said, if you kill Tupac, I will give you the money.
Shit, he said he would give us anything for them dudes there, you know? Tupac and Suge, you mean? Yeah, he said it in front of all the people. I couldn't believe it. You know what I'm saying?
Bearing in mind, those people he said it in front of were all gang members, all people that, you know, if you say this to, they're going to be like, oh yeah, that's fine, I'll do that. And apparently he put £1 million on each of their heads, so if these just do, like, killing to them is like us going to Aldi. They'll just do it for anything. Oh yeah, I'm just feeling it today. Like, yeah, I feel like I could just kill someone. Oh yeah, I kind of need to just kill someone today, and then, like, do you want to just chill on the evening? This is the type of people we're dealing with here. He knows exactly what he's saying to these people, and he knows they're going to take it literally. Now, again, this is a crazy kind of development within the documentary, because this has never been kind of discussed before. Like, everybody kind of had their suspicions, but to have it in black and white, it's just mental to just kind of witness, especially being on like a Netflix documentary. Like, it's wild that we have access to something like this. This Cassie D also goes on to like document the entire night and how it went down, and like Diddy's involvement and everything. Now, just assuming allegedly that, you know, Diddy did this to Tupac, again, you would think that you would keep, you know, just keep it on the down low. You know, you've just killed like one of the, you know, most famous artists in the world, and I'm probably not going to tell anyone about it. However, Diddy just couldn't stop himself from like gloating in songs.
Fuck with me, I drop $1 million on your head. Race you and your whole family. It's gonna start making y'all niggas disappear, man.
Bruh, what are we, like, seriously, right? What are we doing here? Come on. Are we taking the piss, P. Diddy, Sean Combs, Puff? What are we doing, man? Oh yeah, I just killed him, and if you say something as well, I'll kill you as well. That's almost worse than R. Kelly's lyrics, you know, when he was singing like, my mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me yes. It's like, Robert, what you doing? Listen to your mind, Robert, not your body, please. Now, despite gloating in this song Muscle Game about, you know, allegedly killing Tupac, this again wasn't enough for Diddy. His ego wasn't satisfied that, you know, like, it just didn't fulfill him that he'd killed Tupac, and he'd also gloated about it in a song. He had to take it one step further. So he decided to throw parties in the East Coast territory, obviously like Tupac's territory. And he'd also forced Biggie to go there, and Biggie never wanted to go because obviously he knows that there was a very public beef between him and Tupac. Tupac's died. If he goes to the territory where Tupac is, chances are the same thing's going to happen to him. It's just logic. There was even a time where Biggie was meant to go to London on tour and kind of, you know, be introduced to a European audience, and everything had been planned for months. However, Diddy, on the very day that Biggie was meant to go, rang him up and went, you're not going, you're coming to a party in the East Coast. And he would do this over and over again, constantly putting Biggie in harm's way, even though he's his manager and he's meant to be the one that's protecting him. And eventually there was just one too many parties in this turf, and what happened to Biggie happened. He ended up getting shot by people in the East Coast. And again, we get to see unseen footage of all of this kind of going down. You kind of see people reacting to what's happened, people saying, wait, is that Biggie that's just got shot?
Somebody got shot. Somebody got shot.
Yeah, we need an ambulance on Fairfax and Wilshire.
Now again, Diddy is very calculated in the way he does things. He would never like go and, you know, murder someone himself. Clearly he kind of wanted Tupac out the picture because Tupac was too big and was kind of, you know, making a mockery of him. He felt inferior to him. And the same thing was happening with Biggie. He almost felt inferior, like Diddy wasn't the star anymore and he couldn't have that. So he constantly put Biggie in harm's way, just, you know, kind of putting it out there that, oh, well, he could get taken away, so then I can take his place. And after obviously what happened to Biggie happened, Diddy would do multiple interviews talking about how they were best friends and how this was the worst thing ever, that Biggie had been taken away from him. And it made him look like such a good guy. Like, it looked like this guy was genuinely hurt by it. He even threw him like a massive funeral, the biggest funeral that New York City's ever seen. But what he didn't tell people was he actually took the money out of Biggie's like safe to pay for this funeral. So not only did he put Biggie in harm's way for his funeral, where he'd spent millions of pounds on it, it was actually from Biggie's money. So he didn't actually spend any of his money on it at all. Again, another manipulation tactic to make himself look good to the public. Now, Diddy would actually use all of this, again, newfound fame of, you know, being the one who was Biggie's best mate and kind of carrying on the legacy to further his own career again, as he would actually ride on the back of this news by releasing his first solo album, which he'd never done before, obviously. And this took Sean to a whole new level of fame and made him the artist. He'd never been the artist before. People had said that he was never a talented rapper or a talented producer. He really wasn't like talented within music. He just knew how to manage people. Yet this was his time to be the man. He was the artist now. Now, going into episode 3 of the doc, we kind of get a change of topic, and it more covers Diddy's relationship with women and other people and how he manipulated them. One of Diddy's first public altercations with a woman was when he was accused of shooting someone in a nightclub. She was called Natanya Rubin, and the photos of her, you see her nose is like busted open, and Diddy has always denied this, but she's very adamant that it was him. However, again, Diddy somehow managed to get out of this. Diddy would then make a TV show on the back of this news called Making the Band, where he basically would run like a talent show, get people together and like make a band that was going to be hugely successful on Bad Boy Records. Now, Diddy would kind of use this as a way to assert his like power and his like dominance, as obviously these people need his help to change their lives, and that only feeds into his ego because he knows that from his perspective he can do whatever he wants to these people because he knows he's got them. This is how his evil brain kind of works. Now, once this show had finished and they'd made the band, there was a singer in the band called Audrey O'Day. She was seen as like the kind of centerpiece of the band, like the most attractive one, the best singer, like kind of the front runner of it. Now, Diddy wasted no time being really weird and provocative with her. He would often send her really weird messages, which she talks about in the doc.
There are emails. I don't want to just fuck you. I want to turn you out. I can see you being with some motherfucker that you tell what to do. I make my woman do what I tell her to do, and she loves it.
Bro, again, HR, where are you, man? This bloke is the creepiest bloke. Imagine this was your mate. You'd be like, brother, what are you doing, you absolute freak? I've never seen a man so creepy and horny. Like, he's like the final boss of creepy horniness. Now, can you imagine how Audrey would feel? You know, obviously, she's just won this competition. You know, she thinks her life's going to change. You know, she's in such a positive mindset. All her hard work has paid off. And now she realizes, like, this is the guy she signed to, and this is the guy that calls the shots. You know, that's obviously going to just make you feel so disheartened. And it almost kind of takes your humanity away from you and kind of, you know, in your own mind, is going to eradicate your own achievements of how talented you are and the reason you're actually here. Now, later in this documentary, we do hear such a harrowing story from Audrey, which honestly, like, I had to pause the documentary at that point to just kind of gather my thoughts, because what he ended up doing to this woman is awful. We will discuss that later. Now, after receiving these messages consistently from Diddy, Aubrey actually wouldn't feed into it. Like, she wouldn't, you know, do these things for Diddy, and she was actually sacked 6 months later because of this. And they actually show the footage on the show where Diddy kind of lets her go, and he puts it down to her being too promiscuous.
I don't like her energy. I don't like what she does to the brand when she's wilding out there, being overly raunchy, promiscuous.
But again, when this show aired, you didn't know any of this was going on in the background, so she ended up getting like quite a bit of hate, like, and people were agreeing with Diddy because people saw Diddy as the, you know, the voice of authority. It just shows again how Diddy didn't mind throwing other people under the bus if it meant that he seemed a little bit more, you know, kind of powerful. And after this, Diddy would then find his next project, as he would call them, in Cassie, who was only 19 at the time when Diddy found her. Now, if you know anything about Diddy's story prior, you very much will know about Diddy and Cassie and, you know, all of the things about them, which we are going to discuss. And the CCTV footage that got released again, that comes up, which is crazy. Now, Diddy basically changed Cassie's life overnight when he met her, and, you know, they talked a few times. He offered her a 10-album deal there on the spot. Bearing in mind, like, when does that ever happen? Like, a 10-album deal? Most artists don't even get to 5 albums, never mind 10 albums. But again, that's a way for Diddy to kind of lock you in and kind of make sure that you don't go anywhere. You're in his grips at this point. And Diddy would often be very weird with Cassie straight away, very similar to what he was with Aubrey, and he would get really close to her. Obviously, at this point, he's dating Kim Porter, who he has many children with. And when Kim actually found out the nature of the relationship between Diddy and Cassie, Kim was a woman who was very proud and very stern and didn't let Diddy walk all over her. So Kim basically ended the relationship at that point and went, I'm not being a part of this anymore. Like, this is not for me. And it seemed like Diddy splitting up with Kim, like, you know, in his head, it was almost like he was let off the leash even more and he could be even more dirtier and horrific to these women. There's a story told by a former sex worker who says that Diddy hired him for 8 years to do things in front of Diddy with the women that he was talking to, specifically Cassie. This former sex worker is called Clayton, and Clayton said that Diddy would often come downstairs when him and Cassie were in the room wearing a disguise and kind of muffling his voice so that Clayton didn't know who he was. Just quickly, donuts, if you haven't already, we are trying to hit 1 million donuts on this channel, so press subscribe if you haven't already. I know many people watch my videos and haven't actually pressed the button. Press it and then you'll never miss a video. You'll have plenty of videos to binge watch when you're bored.
He had like a shirt tied around his face, and he kind of threw on a fake voice to make himself sound like he was from the South. He went by the name of Frank Black.
Bro's a weirdo, like, isn't he? I know that's not the best commentary, but someone's got to say it. Just a pure weirdo, man.
He would sit in the corner. She would have me put the baby oil on. I remember putting it on like a normal person. She took the bottle and said, no, that's not enough. All over me.
Like, I knew there was some memes around Diddy and baby oil and how he's obsessed with it, but I just didn't think we were going to talk about it in this documentary. For anybody that doesn't know, like, P. Diddy is like a fiend for baby oil. Diddy honestly has took Johnson stocks to the moon. Can you imagine how weird that would be as the sex worker, though? You just put the baby oil on, they're like, no, that's not enough, we need you lathered in it, fucking put it on properly, man. You'd be like, something's really weird here, like, are you trying to make me more aerodynamic? Like, what is going on here? Are we going to go on a slip and slide? Clayton says how Diddy would often, like, pause him and Cassie, you know, sleeping with each other to make sure the angles were right. like, if they were like 5 or 10 degrees off an angle in a position, Diddy would have to stop it as it wasn't right for him. He also said that sometimes these sessions would last continuously for like 48 hours. Like, they just wouldn't sleep. Like, they would just be in that room doing that for that entire time. Apparently, Clayton would do this for Diddy for like 8 years, which obviously that's nearly a decade. Bruh, what? Talk about a reoccurring customer. But then Clayton stopped working for Diddy as he was raising concerns as to why Diddy, was collecting his sperm.
They collected my semen for like a year. It was creepy from the beginning, but after a while, I just said, yo, what are you doing with my semen? He told me, I like to see her play with it and drink it. He's like, what's wrong with that?
Oh, like, what's wrong with that? What, can a man not collect another man's, like, semen? Oh, is that taboo now? What, am I not allowed to, like, watch my girlfriend play with your semen? Oh, world's gone mad. Bloody woke. This world. Miss the times when you could play with another man's semen, not be called gay. Yeah, honestly, like, that is completely normal, just collecting your friend's. I would be so freaked out, though. Like, seriously, from Clayton's perspective, if I was him in this position and I just saw them, like, collecting my sperm, I'd be like, what are you doing? Are you trying to make, like, an army of, like, YouTube commentators or something? Like, is this what you're trying to do? You're trying to create, like, a production line here? Just let me know. I just want to know, just so my mind's at ease. Now, you're probably wondering, like, how they managed to stay up for this amount of time, you know, doing these acts. Well, allegedly, the baby oil was actually laced with drugs, and they were taking drugs anyway, but that's the reason why they wanted so much baby oil rubbed in, to keep them awake, to keep them high, to make sure that they could keep doing things for Diddy. And Clayton also says that they would always call him on March the 9th. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, March the 9th is the anniversary of Biggie's death, so it was almost like on Biggie's anniversary, Puff would do this in celebration, which again is so strange. Like, oh yeah, it's what Biggie would have wanted, right? Spreading another man in baby oil and making him shag me wife. Talk about more money, more problems. Bloody hell. Now, Clayton literally doesn't hold back in this. He just tells us everything. He even says how Diddy would often, like, violently, you know, put his hands on Cassie during these sessions. Clayton would try and defend her, but, you know, he was so intimidating. He would basically, like, tell him he's going to die if he does anything. Clayton says anything would kind of set Diddy off. For instance, if Cassie smiled at Clayton during, you know, what they were doing, Diddy would get really angry and then he would do something. Like, the guy is deeply, and I mean deeply insecure. Like, how can you set a situation up where your girlfriend is sleeping with another man? That's fine, but oh no, she's not allowed to smile. God, if she smiles, then I'm gonna have an issue. It's like, yeah, I actually think, you know, the insertion of each other's genitals together is a little bit deeper, just in my opinion, right? A little bit of a hot take there, guys. Apologies if you disagree. Trying to keep it real over here. Clayton recalls this one time where Diddy actually said, "Why are you smiling at Clayton? Is it because he's got a bigger dick than me?" Which, it's just such a weird thing to say. Oh, you smiling at him because, like, he's a shower and I'm a grower. Oh, is that what? Is it? Any need? God, the all can't be big. All right. By the way, I hope I'm not kink shaming anyone here. I'm just saying how it's weird that Diddy does all of this because of the aura of this man and because of this man's actions. I know, you know, watching people sleep with your partners is an actual thing and people do it without the violence. Again, not for me though, right? Gotta make that clear. I'm more of a kind of just sleep with your own partner kind of vibe. I'm just like old school like that. Me personally, guys, again, sorry for the hot takes. Oh my God, this room's gonna blow up in a minute. Now, every single time that Diddy was violent to Cassie, she would often try and escape. She'd run away, just get herself out of the situation, because obviously she's probably frightened for her life. Like, can't imagine how it must have been like to be her, honestly. I think a lot of people would have seen the very famous CCTV clip that went viral where Cassie is like pressing the lift, trying to escape, you know, just leave Diddy. Like, she just wants to get away from him, and we see Diddy kind of running down the corridor, chasing after her, and without even a thought in his mind, he basically grabs her, he puts her on the floor, he punches her, and he just like kicks her when she's down. And bearing in mind, like, this is in a hotel lobby, he will know there's cameras there. He's taking a chance here. So can you imagine what he does in a room, in a hotel room where there's complete privacy? It'll be 10, 100 times worse, man. Now, after this occurrence, Cassie actually put her foot down and she was like, look, I'm not putting up with this anymore. And I believe she was one of the first people publicly to come out against Diddy and be like, this is not the guy you all think he is. He's a monster. And it's so good that she was strong enough to come out, because this just opened up the floodgates for everybody else. Up until this point, no one's like allegations had been made that public, but with Cassie coming out, because people knew like how close they were, it just had so much weight to it, which gave a lot of other victims the confidence to come forward with their story. Like we've seen in episode 1 with Joy, you know, the woman that featured in the music video and then later got essayed by Diddy. People like her were so scared to go against this guy, and even her at this point were coming out against Diddy again. And after this, the allegations just grew and grew. We see news articles and reportings of, there was like 5 or 6 people a day. I remember this all coming out. It seemed like every single day you put on the news, there was like another 10 people that had accusations against Diddy for doing the worst of the worst things. And this actually led to the authorities raiding Diddy's mansion on, I think it was on the basis of like human trafficking. Basically seized all of his laptops and everything. They were like, look, we need to get this guy now. There is also a story that I wasn't going to mention, but I feel like I need to, based around Kid Cudi. So for people that don't know who Kid Cudi is, he's like my favourite artist ever. I named my dog after him. Like, he's one of the reasons why I'm still here today. Anyway, right, side note, just, he's very, you know, he's like a sad boy kind of vibe. Well, Cassie was actually friends with Kid Cudi and developed a relationship with Kid Cudi, I believe, after splitting up with Diddy, and Diddy didn't like this. Diddy actually kidnapped his assistant, who found out about this, and they both went to Kid Cudi's house against obviously the assistant's will, and Diddy was going there to kill him. He had a gun. He went into Kid Cudi's house. I don't believe Kid Cudi was actually there, but the intent was there to kill him. I've also heard a very known story, which isn't actually in the documentary, that Diddy blew up Kid Cudi's car. That's how bad Diddy is, by the way, that, you know, he blows up someone's car and that doesn't make the documentary because it's not like bad enough. Do you know how many bad things you need to do for blowing someone's car and not be in like the top 1,000 worst things you've ever done? But again, it's kind of revealing how insecure this guy is. Like, the only thing he found out about Cassie and Kid Cudi was that Cassie asked if Kid Cudi could go hiking with her. That's all he knew, and that was enough for him to go and murder that guy. Luckily he didn't, and you know, Cudi's still with us. He did then find Cassie after this, and you know, again, he was very violent towards her. He also said that if Cudi finds out that Diddy did this to Cassie, he will kill everybody that Cudi knows and everybody that Cassie knows. Again, another horrific manipulation tactic. Now, after getting this information overload, we then cut back in the documentary to 5 days before Diddy's arrest, which is actually the most up-to-date footage we've seen yet in the doc, and you can see how agitated he is that all of this information is now coming out about him, and he's no longer in control. He's out of control. The very thing that he hates, he's in that. He's in his hell right now.
The girl that's in my group that was on my last album, you're on my last album now, all of a sudden I'm this person, I'm this monster. Fuck that, man.
You can see how agitated he is, and even his reasoning that he's trying to tell himself, like, oh, you were on my last album and now you don't like me. Like, 2 things can't be true, you know. Like, they were probably on that album because they were intimidated by you, and you know, you were constantly, you know, beating them or manipulating them. They felt like they had to be on that album. That doesn't mean that they like you. And I think the most telling thing about when you see the up-to-date kind of vlogs of Diddy that he was taking for himself, you see how he feels no remorse for his actions. Like, obviously, if there's like one person coming forward, a lot of the time it's like your word against them. But when there's 100+ people coming forward, how can you not go, maybe I actually did some of this stuff, you know? Maybe I'm actually not the nicest bloke. I just find it mental how this guy never takes responsibility or feels zero empathy for what he's done to these people. He's ruined over 100 people's lives, and he's just like, yeah, honestly, they're all liars. It's scary that a human being can actually be like this. Like, you obviously see this in movies and you see it in history with like the most evil people ever, but just seeing like I guess like a music artist or like a business owner be like this, you're like, oh my god, like people are just living among us who are just so evil. Now, again, at this point in the documentary, Diddy still, you know, just disputes everything. He says that there's no wrongdoing. He also disputes the fact that he laced the baby oil with stuff. He's basically, again, taking no responsibility, and that leads us nicely into episode 4, which is the final episode of the 4-part documentary. Episode 4 starts off with us hearing from Capricorn Clark for the first time in real length. she was Diddy's assistant for many years, so obviously she's got one of the best perspectives of who this guy really is. She says that on her very first day working for Diddy, Diddy took her to Central Park and he said that if Capricorn ever betrayed her, he would kill her in a park exactly like this one, which obviously, you know, a little bit intense for the first day, first meeting with your boss. Oh, by the way, if you ever betray me, I will kill you in a setting like this. The fact that he actually took her to like a park as well, just in case she couldn't like imagine what a park killing would be like, that was nice of him. You know, always thinking of other people. Like, this girl hasn't even done anything for you yet, and you're already threatening her. It's important to note the reason he did threaten her was because she had some sort of connection to Suge Knight, who is a nemesis of Diddy. But that still, again, doesn't justify doing what he did. She says it was a constant theme when she was working for Diddy that he would often intimidate her so that she would work harder. And this is echoed by a producer that was working with Diddy at the time called Rodney Jones. He recalls a moment where he was literally making a song for Diddy in the studio and he heard a gunshot and Diddy and Diddy's son walked out of the bathroom and Rodney walked in and found a man like bleeding out. So he called an ambulance and was like, can you please come? Like someone's been shot here. And Diddy says to him, don't tell them it was me. And it wasn't like him telling, it was like him basically saying, you'll be next if you do. And after this, Rodney was expected to just go back in the studio and finish the song. Like, this is how desensitized Diddy is to just murdering someone. It's like, oh, I've just done that, but like, can everyone else not just work? Like, he thinks everybody else is as mental as him. It's also said that the person that he shot, they didn't ever hear from ever again. Like, he got took in an ambulance and then just that was it. So at this point, it's like, not only can Diddy, you know, murder people or try to murder people, he can make people disappear. So you don't even know if they're dead or not. And again, a constant theme throughout Diddy's career and life. He managed to get out of this unscathed. The police turned up as well. They didn't charge him. He didn't get any punishment whatsoever for this. Rodney says that the only reason that he stayed with Diddy after this was because he needed to for his career, to further his career. And this is a constant battle a lot of the people that surround themselves with Diddy seem to have. Like, Diddy seems like a really successful person, and it's almost like, do I do the dance with the devil to get what I want out of this with the fear that I can get hurt in the process? And it is a shame that, you know, with Diddy being one of the gatekeepers of the industry, like, you kind of need to go through one of these gatekeepers to, you know, become successful yourself. It is a shame that, you know, everyone seems to just kind of put up with his antics because they know they need him, and Diddy would often remind those people that they need him, otherwise they're nothing. There's one clip that proves that so much, where Diddy is trying to say the lines to a song that Rodney is producing and he just can't get it right, so he blames everyone else but himself.
I'm letting all y'all niggas know if I ain't hot, y'all niggas ain't hot. So I'm just telling y'all better get to producing some motherfucking sex in the Porsche. Y'all acting like I could be motherfucking lukewarm and y'all gonna be hot. You don't wanna be lukewarm.
This guy, I don't understand how people were able to be in his presence, honestly. Many people have said that Diddy had no talent when it came to music. Like, he couldn't even say the lines. Like, he was useless at it. It was the people around him that made him really good. And he doesn't seem to understand that. Or he does, and he just doesn't let these talented people know that the power is actually with them, not him. I think it's more like that. And I definitely think Diddy is finding out that, you know, the years of substance abuse, the years of doing all of these antics that, you know, he would do, is catching up with him. Like, he can no longer even say the lines to make it sound good. Like, before, he could kind of put a bit of tone into his voice and the songs would be like bangers. Now he can't even do the basic of the basic. Yet, despite not even being able to do this, he still thinks that he's a god.
Now y'all witnessing Jesus walking on water. You know what I'm saying? Or Jesus having a breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? Because I can only compare myself to the Son of God. You feel me?
No, I don't feel you. I really don't. Your job is to say lines on a beat, and you can't even do that. What do you mean you're like Jesus? You're the opposite of Jesus. Jesus would hate you. To be fair, if we can, I actually don't mind if we just crucify Diddy. Like, honestly, if there is a petition that people are starting, I will sign that. I'll straight up sign that. I don't care. He can't find me in Newcastle. Imagine if Diddy actually was watching this in prison, just being like, look at this prick. Look at him. Don't worry, when I get out, I'm gonna rain terror on him. Please don't pay Diddy. Please don't. Actually, I'm not scared of you. Fuck you. That was the most polite fuck you. No, fuck you. Now, Rodney said during this session and many other sessions, Diddy would show him videos of, like, other men getting shagged by, like, men. I don't really understand. Like, I guess he was showing him, like, gay porn, and Rodney was like, mate, what are you doing here? I'm just trying to, like, you know, put a snare drum on this beat or something. Like, why are you showing me this guy's arsehole? This isn't helping, you know? He would also invite him to his freak-offs. Now, for anybody that doesn't know what these freak-offs are, these are the famed Diddy parties where he would record everything, where he would rub everyone in baby oil, where all of these celebrities have been pictured at them so that he can control them. These are the things that got exposed once he got arrested, basically. Now, at these freak-off parties, Diddy started also getting his children involved. Like, you see his children are around him and they're very much like him. Like, he got them hooked on substances. He gets them to talk to women how he talks to women. So they think, again, that it's completely normal from young to treat people this way. So in their own minds, obviously they're an adult and they should know right from wrong, but they just think it's acceptable to just, like, hit someone if they don't agree with you, or, you know, drug someone. Like, they're growing up in this environment. Like, this guy is evil, like, doing this to his children as well. How many times can I call this guy evil? One more. There we go. Now, like I said, he'd often have, like, hidden cameras in every single, like, corner of the room at these parties so that he could watch them afterwards and kind of, you know, get people on camera doing things, and then he can kind of manipulate them, very much like what is discussed within, like, the Jeffrey Epstein Island, so that he could basically have more power and have these really powerful people in his pocket, making him the most powerful one. He wanted, like, world domination. Like, he didn't want anybody to be more powerful than him. Honestly, if he could be the president, I imagine he would be like, yes. And at these freak-off parties, many people would wake up, like, naked, not realizing what had happened the night before. Like, their memories would almost be wiped because, obviously, you know, the alleged drugged of the baby oil and just in general the substances they were taking. Like, Rodney says there was many times that he woke up completely naked on a bed with no recollection how he actually got there.
There's a lot of things that happened to me I just don't even want to speak on, you know what I'm saying?
Like, I can see on his face, like, I don't know what that, you know, look feels like. Like, that's a guy who doesn't want to confront the demons. A guy that has been through some real, you know, horrible, harrowing things and still troubles him to this day. And there's been no retribution for that. Not only was Diddy doing these sort of things to Rodney, like, when it came to work as well, Rodney finished off an entire album for Diddy, did loads of instruments for it, the producing of the tracks, and he just didn't get paid. Like, Diddy never paid Rodney for his work, ever, which again follows the constant pattern of behaviour from Diddy. Get more talented people than yourself to do stuff for you, elevating your career, and then leaving them behind where they were before. And still to this day, Rodney has never received a penny for his work on that album for Diddy. Now, from one person that Diddy took advantage of to another, a person we've discussed in length on this documentary, Aubrey O'Day from Making the Band. I mentioned how she went through a very harrowing experience with Diddy, and I'm going to talk about it now, and definitely think, you know, over everything we've talked about, this is, you know, arguably one of the worst. I can't play any clips from what she said because it will genuinely probably just get taken down on YouTube. She basically talks about how somebody who sued Diddy in a lawsuit mentioned her by name, saying that she saw Aubrey O'Day passed out on a sofa or a bed, and obviously you passed out, you don't know what's going on, and Diddy and other men were I can't, like, I feel like crying even saying it, like, inserting themselves, you know, just horrendous acts on a woman who's helpless, who, you know, only knows Diddy because she was trying to, you know, make a name for herself, and now she finds herself in this position. Just, like, it actually makes us, like, emotional, like, just even talking about it, that someone has to go through that at the hands of such a monster. And one of the worst parts about it mentally for Aubrey is she doesn't even know if this happened. She has no recollection. She was thinking of suing the person that put that in their lawsuit, that they saw that at one of the freak-off parties, because she doesn't remember it. But she also had a little bit of awareness and thought, wait, if I, like, sue this person, then that's almost me kind of sticking up for Diddy because I'm poking holes in the lies of these accusations accusations, and she said that she never ever wanted to support Diddy, so she's kind of just let that run, but still to this day she doesn't know if that happened or not. Now, I'm not saying that if you know it happened it makes it any better, but at least you can start to like just kind of come to terms with it, and you know, if something traumatic happens, you can just, you know, recognize that it's happened and work, you know, on yourself and therapy and just talk and just try and get to some sort of place where you feel happy. But I can't even imagine what it feels like if you didn't know it's happened but you're getting told it's happened, because you don't even get the headspace of being like, this happened to you. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I'm not making sense here. I feel like fucking crying reading that out, because that's an actual human being that's been through that. Like, that will never leave her. Now, after this, the documentary eventually shows you Diddy getting arrested, and when the authorities searched his hotel room, they found prescription drugs, illegal substances, and of course, again, endless amounts of baby oil, which makes you think, was he continuing to do, you know, these antics in his hotel room? Obviously, because he's got so much baby oil, what else would he be using it for? Unless he's keeping moisturised, but I'm not buying that. How much baby oil does one man need, man? Like, would it kill him to just use some Aveeno cream or something? Who is selling this baby oil to Diddy, man? Surely we have to put a stop to this. And after this, we then get shown some clips of Diddy, you know, prior to getting arrested, prior to, you know, the final moments leading up to this, where you can see how reckless and how out of control he feels, and as the lawsuits were just pouring in. Also, if you haven't already, please do press a like on this video. Me and Justin put so much work into these videos and would really appreciate it. Thanks, donuts.
This brokenness done got niggas motherfucking acting like motherfucking, you know, when zombies get big.
What you talking about?
I'ma send it to you right now. I'ma definitely need you to go on the record. She's bugging. I never had a problem with this girl.
And honestly, I like seeing this guy squirm. I like seeing this guy finally lose this grip of power that he thinks he has. Like, you can see how desperate he is. He is ringing multiple people that he knows that were at these parties to basically kind of come out in his favour and publicly kind of say that everyone else is telling lies. He knows he's finished, so he's calling in every single favour possible to try and get him out of this, his last, like, ditch chance.
No, I just felt like me and you was close enough like that. I ain't never asked nobody to make a statement. If it's a nigga's funeral, that you'll be jumping in my casket. Because I love you, bitch. Because you really love me.
And again, it's that manipulation thing. Again, just playing on people's heartstrings, saying, you're my friend, right? Like, you know, like, we're tight, like, we look out for each other. Okay, well, I need you to look out for me now. Asking the very, like, worst of people. Now, the woman who received that message is called Kalena, and shockingly, she actually posted publicly in defense of Diddy around this time, basically saying that the accusations made against him were false, and that when she knew him and when she was at these parties, everything was good, and he never acted like this with her. Now, obviously, you're going to be kind of thinking, why would you do this? But she talks about how Diddy said that he could help her get custody of her kids. So I do believe she was manipulated into, like, giving this statement, like he was really playing on her heartstrings. So I'm going to leave that up to you to, you know, decide what you think about that. Honestly, you know, when you see how much information's been made against Diddy, it is shocking that she kind of denounced all of those accusations. She says she didn't realise the gravity of them, but you kind of just have to take her word for it, I guess. And after this, the doc then straight away just gets into the court case as it's happening. Now, Diddy wasn't actually found guilty of, like, all of the, like, menacing things that he was accused of, the things that would put him away for life. He actually got away just getting charged for lighter things. We do see at the end of the doc exactly what he has been sentenced for. And we even get to hear from members of the jury who say that they made the right decision in charging Diddy for what they charged him for. And I just found it really interesting, all of the stops that Diddy was kind of pulling out to try and, you know, sway the public opinion on him, because he knew that that was so important towards the jury's decision. Obviously, the jury shouldn't allow that, but he knows, like, human behaviour so well and how to manipulate it. He was saying that obviously, like, CNN and all these big media corporations are putting out this story against him. So what him and his team need to do is go to TikTok, go to Instagram, go where all the younger people are, where many members of the jury, kind of coexist in and start to create a positive narrative around him there. He was allegedly paying like influencers from Instagram and TikTok and everywhere to like put out positive things about him. And honestly, seeing some of the videos from these influencers is mental.
Cassie takes absolutely zero accountability.
Cassie was pretty much the ringleader.
That bitch was going back to the freak off.
Baby, you went back.
Being freaky is not a crime.
Bro, we need influencers are a plague, okay? I can't have this anymore. Why are we having people posting free Diddy? Do you not know what this guy's done? Did you not see the CCTV evidence? How can you watch that and go, yeah, honestly, free my man, like, fresh home, come on. Genuinely, lots of influencers are like this. If the price is right, they'll do fucking anything. I can't believe people actually did that. That is mental. They should all hang their heads in shame. Even members of the jury were saying that influencers were reporting on things that didn't actually happen in court just to sway the public perception of Diddy. And when I'm listening to members of the jury that are featured in the documentary, I just don't have any faith in them. Like, they just seem a bit off and I don't really value their opinions.
Two people in love, they're like, you never thought that she'll leave both hands clapping together. You cannot clap with one hand. The both hands like this, then you get the noise.
Plonker. Absolute plonker. What a plonker. It is important to note that Diddy wasn't being charged on, I believe, domestic violence. So the clip from the CCTV, doesn't really come into play too much. But that should give you a character profile of someone, that they're capable of these things. How could you have seen that clip and go, yeah, these two were just in a bit of they were both giving it to each other, they were just in love. Were they? Oh, it's just just what happens in a relationship, innit? You just drag your lass down the lobby of a hotel. We've all done it, We haven't.
She could have done whatever she wanted to do.
You don't like something, you completely get out. You cannot have both ways. Have the luxury and then complain about it.
But you lack any nuance at all or any emotional depth whatsoever, my friend. You can't say that. Unless you've been in that position, you don't have a good perspective on it. You can't say, oh, well, if she didn't like it, why didn't she just leave? That is the most brainless, argument ever. Yes, from a logistical standpoint, from a logical point of view, that makes sense. But this isn't a logical situation. It's so emotionally fueled. It's on a lesser level. Why do people go back to people that constantly cheat on them? It's like a trauma bond. It's something that is emotionally within them that they feel like they're tied to that person. Clearly, in my eyes, that's what's happening here. And I just can't believe this guy from the jury just didn't give the situation any nuance. I don't feel like you can just look at a situation like that, just black and white, and just be like, oh, well, this is the answer and this is what, It just doesn't work like that. There is a clip of another member of the jury who she says when she was younger, she used to consume a lot of what Diddy did. Not the baby oil, obviously. The songs and the artists that he managed. I think she basically was a fan of him. When she was younger. She says she wasn't, but I believe she was because she knew so much about him. And you can see when she's talking about him and when she's, kind of bringing up things that happened in court, she almost felt like she was Diddy's friend.
And sometimes look over to us like, can you believe they said that? It was funny to see because I had the same facial expressions that he did at times when it was something that someone said and it's like, that didn't make much sense.
You're not his friend. What do you... Oh, yeah, me and P. Diddy agree about a lot of stuff. That's not a good thing. That's terrible. Oh, yeah, me and P. Diddy actually quite see eye to eye. Oh, do you know? Do you? Right? Getting a little bit of a character profile on you, love. Put you on the stand. This, again, is the way that Diddy manages to manipulate people, because obviously if someone is reading out in court that you lace baby oil and you rub someone in it and then you hit them or whatever, you're going to be like, that just seems so far-fetched. But because of how far-fetched it is, and he makes that face to the jury, it almost comes into an agreement that, these guys are idiots, they're just trying to get us because I'm Diddy. This is what he wants. He's pretending to be your friend to get what he wants. It's a constant theme that's talked about throughout the case. I actually don't usually get annoyed in these videos, like never, but I am watching this documentary at times, I'm like, what is going on? Now this woman from the jury actually recalls one of the instances where she looked at Diddy and Diddy looked at her and they were like, oh, what idiots. Should I tell you what that situation was? That was when Capricorn, Diddy's previous assistant, talked about how Diddy kidnapped her. Remember when I told you that he took her to Kid Cudi's house to kill Kid Cudi? That's what they were all like, oh, that just didn't happen. I'm gonna leave. I can't even fucking do this. I'm sick. Guy is so messed up, and the things that he does on a daily basis is so unbelievable that, you know, it's not believable to people that don't have much context to it. And from our point of view, after watching the doc, you can tell that Capricorn isn't lying during this because she can recall every moment of it, and she's literally streaming with tears. Like, this still definitely affects her today. When she's talking about it, she says, like, bringing this all up, it's just bringing all the emotions back, and you can see it. You can see it. Sorry for getting invested emotionally into this, guys, but it kills us. Normally I try and just have a balanced point of view. This has not been balanced. Now, as this documentary comes to a close, they start to wrap things up, and all of the people that have kind of went against Diddy in this doc doing the talking heads say that they're really worried for their lives after this. Like, even though Diddy is in prison right now, they still, when he gets out, they know that he never forgets things. He will know every single person that said something against him, and they're just fearful of their lives when that moment when Diddy eventually gets out happens. He's literally like Victor out of X-Men Origins Wolverine, for anyone that's seen that movie where he kind of hunts down all the people that he previously worked with to kill them. Spoilers. I mean, it's like 20 years old. Surely you would have watched it by now. Now, as the documentary does officially close, we get to hear from Diddy as like the last words.
I'm still in this movie. I just know the ending, and that it's going to end happily ever after.
Bro, this is not a happily ever, and like, I can't see Pixar, you know, picking this story up if that's what you're trying to say. I remember that guy that did all them horrible things to everyone and then like he lived happily ever after. Like, oh, what? Oh, we should make like an entire toy collection out of this. This is really cute. Now, just to reiterate what Diddy was actually sentenced for, that was RICO, and violations of the Mann Act, and he was convicted on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution under the Mann Act and acquitted of the remaining charges somehow. And now he is serving his 50 months in prison, obviously with time served, which obviously, I don't know about you, but from my perspective, that doesn't seem like 10%, not even 1% of what he should have really have been sentenced for. Despite him getting punished for this, he still, in my opinion, hasn't faced the repercussions for his actions. I don't even feel like there is any repercussions apart from, like, I don't even know what would you put this guy through to imitate what he put other people through. There's nothing. And that is the end of the 4-part documentary. 4 hours of content broken down for you. I do want to cover what happened after the documentary is dropped because it is very interesting, the aftermath of it all, people's reactions, Diddy's reactions. Let's get into it. Now, like I said before in this video, this entire documentary was actually co-produced by 50 Cent. Now, 50 Cent has always been a lifetime hater of Diddy. He's never went to his parties or anything like that. He has always maintained that Diddy is a weird guy and has never wanted to be friends with him when everyone else in the industry was, you know, kind of trying to, you know, be friendly with him. 50 was always like, not for me, all right? Like, he has been waiting all of this time for this moment where he can produce this piece on Diddy to put the final nail in the coffin, and he's been doing like many interviews kind of promoting the doc, and he just seems so happy with himself.
Your favorite villain? My favorite villain? I kind of like Diddy.
Sean Combs watches this. What do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, they can call me Curtis.
Great. And is there anything else that's not okay for people to call you?
Don't call me Puffy or Tyrese.
Okay.
Will you visit Diddy in jail?
No, I wouldn't go to... Do you think this might be too early?
He apparently, and this is just allegedly, but he did an interview with a certain media company that is the only media company that gets shown in prisons. He purposely did that interview so he knows that Diddy could watch it on the telly. Like, this guy is just hilarious. I rate it. I really do rate it. He played the long game and he won. And I do think that is why so many people actually did take part in this, because obviously they respect 50 Cent and they're like, you know, he's really gonna go for him. Now, Diddy has actually responded to 50 Cent in the strangest way he possibly could have. 50 posted on his Instagram saying, what kind of gay shit. Is this Diddy send me flowers at Club 11? Lol. Why all the foreplay? Get busy. You know I'm stupid. And then he's like, put a picture of flowers. So Diddy clearly is trying to act with love here, like he's done many times before when someone's burned him. In the public eye, he acts like everything's okay, and then, you know, under the radar, he just bang bang, you're dead. So hopefully 50 Cent, you know, doesn't actually get that done to him. But I mean, if it does, we all know who it was at the end of the day. Now, people from Diddy's side have responded to the documentary dropping, most notably his mother, Janice. Janice has rebuked all claims that were made in the documentary. She says that they're all fabricated and they're all lies, especially surrounding her. She denies everything about the upbringing that she gave her son, you know, how like toxic and how horrific it was. She also denies that Diddy ever slapped her after what happened at that basketball event. She also says that she raised Diddy with, and I quote, love and hard work and nothing else. And she has also asked that all of the statements surrounding her in the documentary to be retracted. So very clearly she is not happy with what has been reported in this doc. Diddy's legal team have actually responded saying that it's a hit piece and that everything is meant to just ruin Diddy's legacy and ruin him as a character himself. He also said the private recordings that were featured, you know, consecutively during the doc were actually used without authorization, which obviously, like, is 50 Cent really going to be like, Diddy, do you mind if we use all the clips that incriminate you? Is that okay? Thank you very much. Oh, much love, mate. I'll be missing you. Okay. They also said that the only reason 50 is doing it is because Diddy is a competitor to him and it represents a personal vendetta rather than, you know, to add to the investigation, which honestly, fairs. If this is a personal vendetta, I don't care, right? I just want the information out there so everybody can finally understand what this guy is like. 50 has actually rebutted those claims and said that it's not about personal beef. He actually just wants everyone to know how bad Diddy is as a person, like he's known about. And basically says that he wanted to give a voice to the voiceless, which he definitely did, you know? He definitely did that in this documentary. And honestly, like, overall, I think the documentary is one of the best docs I've seen. Like, I cover many documentaries on this channel and I think the structure of many of them isn't that great, but I loved how they constantly like switched between modern day Diddy and kind of like Diddy in the past. So every single time you saw modern day Diddy again, you had another opinion on how awful this guy was, and it just made those clips more sinister. And I just feel like the storyline of it and the way it was produced was really good, and there was no kind of exaggerations. It was straight fact after fact. It was just bullet after bullet. I really enjoyed it as much as I could, and I just hope that every single person that took part in the documentary and the people that didn't take part in the documentary that have been hurt by Diddy do get what they deserve and get money or get anything, like peace of mind, whatever they need from this situation, because it's not fair that someone that had so much power was able to inflict so much harm on these innocent people, and also the families of both Biggie and Tupac, all of the trauma that they've been through because of this guy. I'm glad that at least for the time being, he can't inflict any more pain on anyone else, hopefully. Now, donuts, let me know what you thought of this documentary. Also, let me know what you thought of my coverage of it. Do you enjoy these more deeper videos? I really enjoy covering these and breaking them down for you, so hopefully you do too. If you do want to watch another documentary breakdown from me, that is on a case which honestly took over America, where basically a neighbour killed another neighbour over a dispute that should never ever have occurred. Click this video right here. It's called The Perfect Neighbour. It's one of the most harrowing stories we've ever covered on the channel. I'll see you over there. Bye bye.